For you to master time management, it means that you're going to master your time when you choose an answer and move on to the next question by choice, according to a time chart that we're going to talk about in detail, rather than how you feel. It's a big one. By choice rather than feeling. It can be really hard. For me, for everybody. When you're answering a question, you don't feel you understand, you want to take more time, you're not confident, you're not ready to choose, you move forward by choice according to the timing rather than how you feel, right? We're going to help you so that you can choose more accurately, because here's the important thing. The TOEFL is not in order of difficulty. So question number 3 on your TOEFL reading can be tough, and question number 28 can be very simple and clear. So if you just invest in wherever you feel it's challenging, it's going to wind up hurting you with the pressure and stress you feel towards the end of the reading, because the last reading you get is not the most difficult. It may or may not be, but there's no order of difficulty. Does that make sense? So again, we're going to talk about this in detail. I'm going to show you the timing chart, discuss more how in those tough situations you can choose the answer choice that's more likely to be correct, especially when you're stuck between two options, and more. So let's talk about where we are right now. We're in the TOEFL Reading Time Management episode of TOEFL Talk with NoteFull. This is number 9. Time flies. And so this is where you get to ask your questions about what you're struggling with on the TOEFL. We answer them while delivering lessons that work to build your vocabulary and partner with you to success, not only through this series, but through NoteFull.com. And so to come back to where we are now, what I want to do is, before we jump into the lesson, just kind of interact with you through the messages that you've left on the YouTube video, episode number 8, that actually inspired the content in this video about time management, just to make sure we have a sense of communication, kind of fun to engage, and also talk about different things so that this video, this episode, is a little more full and helpful for you. So the first thing, Nino, excellent. Episode number 8, you will apply the tips, because remember episode number 8, which we'll link you to below, was all about focusing on how to read the title and first sentences of a reading to build your comprehension and answer the summary question. And so my challenges are highlighted and summary questions. So Nino, keep reviewing episode number 8. Remember, just like vocabulary, when you learn something, even from one video, if it's helpful, you want to have yourself have for yourself a clear idea. I want to review this video 3, 4, or 5 times, just like a vocabulary word, because your brain, just by the way it's made, is going to forget, right? A lot of things. So Nino, know that's going to keep helping you. Highlighted questions we call paraphrase, right? Where you have to choose which answer choice matches this sentence best. I think in episode 10, we're going to create something around that, so make sure you watch that one. So excellent, Nino. Naz, thank you so much for the lesson. Thank you for the positive feedback. You'll apply the tip from episode 8. Excellent. And for me, what challenges me is that sometimes when I read, I'm not calm. So this affects my comprehension, right? My understanding. So I'm sure and confident you feel that too, because I feel that. Everyone feels that. So in today's episode, we're going to talk about that. In the end, there's no easy way to deal with stress, right? There's like a million books, a million videos from people who really want to help you to reduce stress. So we're going to use the most effective technique and teach it to you, Naz and others, so that you can really give your attention. And when you start to feel stress limiting your comprehension, you can get your focus back and still do your best on the TOEFL reading and every section. So Umar, okay, so I'm new and I want to improve my language skills. I would like you to guide me in this journey. Please tell me what to do and how to do it. So this is perfect. You're in the right place for you and everyone kind of starting your journey. Just let yourself be a little patient. Episode by episode, things are going to make sense and you'll build. But for anybody who wants extra help, remember to click the link below this video because we have a system on the site that's organized to help you improve, right? So when you click on that, you'll read how we work, how we're helpful for the TOEFL, and how you can use the TOEFL to build your language skills. So Umar, everyone, just keep following the episodes week by week. Click on the link below if you want more help because we have our free course for you too. And that's where we go through every section in really powerful detail. And that can be the first step before you join our more intense courses with online classes or more. So the key thing for you and everybody is study consistently. That's what we're going to start with. So, you watch the episodes week after week, you have your studies. Just make sure you have a TOEFL study schedule and you're dedicating anywhere from 12 to 24 hours a week to your studies. 24 is ideal. We've been doing this for 12 years, and that's a really magic number we've seen over and over again. When you study 24 hours a week for your TOEFL or to improve your English, you have enough hours of study that you really start to build. And every week you feel the improvement. You're not forgetting as much, you're building knowledge. So I hope that helps Umar and others. So Tamida, very helpful video. Awesome. Happy it helped you. Hope this one does too. Could you please make a video on how to answer inferred questions from the reading section within a short time and also give some strategy? Yeah, that's a big video. That'll be episode 10. We're going to work on an example inference question which requires us to really understand sentences well. That's going to help us for the highlighted or paraphrase question because that's what that question is testing. And the strategy that we use for inference will help you to see how it applies to all other questions. So it's really powerful because episode 8 works on comprehension, summary question. This episode, time management, stress management, and the next episode, bringing it all together to actually have a question and answer it well under those tough timed conditions. So make sure to watch this and look out for episode 10, which will either be next Thursday or the Thursday after, depending on when you're watching this, right? Because this video will be here for a while. And Parya, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Excellent. Happy it helped, right? Rosie, my worst problem with reading is time. So this is for you. Time hurts everybody. When I take the TOEFL, when other teachers take the TOEFL, everyone feels the time pressure. So for you, Rosie, and everyone, you're not alone. It's just we need to manage that pressure like a performance, like an athlete, so that even though we feel that, we're still on time and we give question number 2 equal energy as question 28. And again, after kind of going through these messages, we're going to look at our time chart. We're going to make sure that timing is what we master. It goes from our worst problem to our best skill. We can do it. So Surav, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. So hi Joseph, while selecting the MCQ, so I think that's the multiple choice question from the paragraph, it's too difficult to find the actual answer from the answer to be like from the actual score, what to do. So it's a little tough for me to break this down, but I think you're kind of asking that fundamental for maybe the summary question that we did in episode number 8, which is where these comments are from. Our strategy was, how does the title match the answer choice? So maybe it's tough to do that, right? And we also looked at the first sentences, the topic sentences of each paragraph, as powerful clues to what the answer in the summary question is. So when that's difficult, it's normal. It's almost like we're going to the gym and we're working out. If we're pushing weight that is too heavy, we have to kind of stress and strain. And then we work with less weight and we work and we build the muscle. It doesn't feel good, but we power through it, right? So for me, when I read this comment, it really means keep doing what you're doing. Keep reviewing, because you need to review the video a few times, review the sentences, the strategy, and your brain is going to understand it more, see the grammar of the sentences better, see the connection a little bit more, and then you'll become masterful at it. Because I promise you, everybody, if you keep doing what you're learning here, you can get up to a 30 out of 30, right? Because we've trained students from, 15s on the reading to 28s. We've trained students from, 20s to the 30s. It takes a lot of hard work. It's improving your comprehension, but you're learning what works. It's just the patience and the process over time. So I hope that makes sense and helps you and everybody. Ruchita, thanks a lot. Thank you for that comment. Happy it helped. And Seth, I will definitely apply the tip, right, from this video. Awesome. I'm dubious in writing TOEFL because I could score only 144 in verbal GRE. How long do I need to prepare for a good TOEFL score? Well, first, everyone has their own dream score, right? So from our experience, the average NoteFull student, right? NoteFull is where this all comes from, is looking for 100 plus or 80 to 100, right? So with minimum requirements. So kind of top scores, they're tough. So a 90, 100, 110, that's what we'll consider a good score, especially 100 plus. You can get almost any graduate school is going to accept you. Almost any minimum requirement you have will be satisfied. And so our experience depends on your level. With the 144 in the GRE, we learned that if you study 24 plus hours a week for 3 to 6 months, at the 6-month mark, you've had a dramatic change in your score, a dramatic change in your ability. Some students need 9 months, right? Because it all depends on how we're starting, how we're learning how to study, because we guide you on the material for the TOEFL, and really important, how to study. Because you can study a lot of hours, but find that you're in the same place you were before, kind of going in circles. I'm not moving up. I'm just going around the same place. So our honest experience, some students way faster, some students more time, average 24 hours plus a week, 3 to 6 months. Towards the 6 months, you've improved 10, 20 points on the TOEFL, and depending on where you're starting, you might need 2 cycles of that to get up to the 90, 100, 110. But you can do it, Seth, because in the end, nothing changes. We have to improve the way we read, the way we listen, the way we speak, the way we write. It's comprehension and strategy. So I hope that helps you, Seth, and everybody. So Spika, hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Actually, in this episode, episode 8, I got an answer wrong, but got more confidence. Great. I'll remember the title and compare the choices which are more accurate, explaining the title when I'm confused. Thanks. Excellent. So everybody, did you see that? When I'm confused. So that's the kind of tough part. When we're confused, we tend to get, of course, stressed, and we go to our old habits. We rush, we reread, and we think, I can't do it, this is really tough. So a lot's happening. So remembering that's when you want strategy. That's when you forget about what you're thinking and you just take a breath and apply what you learn and trust it. And so this is perfect because that means when I'm a bit confused, when I'm stressed, I'm going to remember the title. I'm going to look at the answer choice for the summary questions. I'm going to see which summary question matches or deals with the title of the reading better. That's it. That's how you improve week after week. So Nancy, thank you. Awesome job. Saeed, you're all very kind, right? Love the comments. They come both ways sometimes, but I'm happy this video, for those of you who commented, was helpful, or at least the last one, right? Could you please make a lesson on how to attack questions? For example, should we read from the beginning of the paragraph, or we must just look for key words? Moreover, I'm struggling with time management in the reading section. So time management this episode will deal with. Yes. So we're going to talk probably about this in the next episode or the one after, because it deserves its own lesson. But when you read, it's very important to remember that the TOEFL is matching academic readings, right? Academic articles. which means it's super connected. So what that means is paragraph 2, to understand it at your best level, needs you to have read paragraph 1 because it's going to have pronouns. It's going to refer to the ideas in paragraph 1. That's why some of your TOEFL questions, right, purpose questions, that's what we call them, ask you, what's the purpose of paragraph 2 in the reading? Now, that paragraph, we teach you strategy. You read the topic sentence, the last sentence, you kind of read through the paragraph, and that gives you a firm idea of what that paragraph is doing. And you do need some idea of the whole reading. That's why our strategy, which you'll learn today, is to read the title and first sentences in the first minute. The TOEFL reading is tough. It is not easy. Not for native speakers, not for, language learners. It's a difficult exam. So it asks you 10 questions per reading. That's a good amount. It used to be 14, now it's 10. And you have a summary question, which is by definition double checking. Did you understand the whole thing? So when you read, we'll teach you the pattern, but essentially, yes, you read from the beginning of the paragraph to answer a question. When you read the next question, you read from where you finished and keep reading. So as you're very disciplined in reading to answer the question, but as you answer, you make sure to read everything. Sometimes you can skip things, but I can't do that. So I don't think it's very easy to. Skipping sentences, skipping paragraphs, even if you can, it creates a hole in your comprehension and it makes questions more difficult. So we always teach you what we know works for us, the way that we actually take the TOEFL score 30s, and what's worked for other students. And it does take that effort. There's only so much strategy before it starts to limit your score because it limits your comprehension. So I hope that makes sense, Saeed and everybody. So this was kind of new, right? Just answering your questions. And again, this is a new series, so just want to find the best way to interact and support you so you really feel connection. So you can also let us know if you found that interesting, engaging, helpful, because it does take time, right? So now, let's jump into our lesson. We connected. Let's start mastering time management in more detail. Now, the page you see on the screen comes from one of our courses, right, where we teach you on the reading. And so this page is dedicated to time management. So time management is pretty cut and dry. So cut and dry is an expression. That's our first vocab word. That comes, I think, from preparing meat. So cut and dry is completely settled or decided. There's nothing fancy. There's not a lot of complication. So the only thing that complicates time management, right, many years working with you, is how you feel. We just feel stressed. So before we talk about stress and answering things correctly, let's get that cut and dried, clear time management structure and how we manage it, right? So the first thing is we spend the first minute. On the TOEFL, you have 3 or 4 readings, right? 3 3 or 4 readings. And so you may get an experimental fourth, and that doesn't count on your score. However, you don't want to guess which reading is the experimental. If you get it, just do your best on every reading and know that it's just a part of the exam. But for each reading, you get 18 minutes, right? So you have to manage your time well, because if you spend too much time on one reading, like 20 minutes, 23 minutes, you really hurt yourself for future readings. So in order to succeed, we invest those 18 minutes in different ways. The first minute, you want to read the title and first sentences. Watch episode 8. You see it linked below. If you don't know how to do that, we had a whole episode on that and how powerful that is to help you. The next one. This is a big one, right? It seems a little, I guess you could say a little cliche, right? So cliche is another great word that you might be familiar with. So a phrase or opinion that is overused and betrays a lack of original thought. Like if you say that, it's like, oh my goodness, this guy's copying everything else. So we know stress management, a lot of it has to deal with deep breathing, meditation, things like that. But this is actually a core of what we help everybody with. Every section, including especially the speaking, where stress really tends to increase. When you're reading, in between answering questions, eyes closed, deep breath, and then a sentence directing you forward. Just focus, or just follow strategy, right? Or just try your best. Is very important because stress is basically how you feel in the body and what you're telling yourself in the brain. So the deep breath focuses your attention on the body, kind of gives you nice, calming, relaxed feeling. Eyes closed eliminates the distraction and what's looking at you on the screen, which is stressful. The positive statement that you say out loud or in your head kind of interrupts whatever thing you're saying to yourself. This is tricky. I can't understand this. This is too much time. I'm tired. Why do I have to take this exam? So this needs to be part of your process and time management so that every time you finish every 5 questions at least, you're taking a deep breath at these important points to reconcentrate your energy, right? And you'll feel the difference as you get better with that. The next thing is we've tried a lot of different ways to teach, and there's so many different methods. So what we found is pretty effective is to think in your head of answering questions in groups of 5. So you have 10 questions per reading. And so instead of thinking, we tell you that means you have about 1 minute and 41 seconds. If you do the math, 1 minute for the title and first sentences, then you have 17 minutes for 10. Gives you about 1 minute 41 seconds plus or minus per question. So we train with that, but not so strictly, because some questions, a vocab question, you can answer them more quickly. They're smooth, you know the answer, so you save some time. That time you can invest in more challenging questions. So the key thing is avoid, avoid, avoid. I'm going to spend more time on this question and answer the future ones faster. Oh, I haven't answered the vocab question, so I'm going to spend a little bit more time here. You can do that, but avoid it when you're learning time management because that means you're not a master yet. So you can't really trust that you're not going to maybe break time management in the future and kind of get into trouble because the goal is question number 2 has the same time, space, focus, and energy as question number 28, only because the order of difficulty isn't organized. It's random. Question 2 might be super tough. Question 28 might be super easy, or the opposite. So your best strategy is relatively even amount of energy and focus for each question. So that's why you want to get comfortable moving forward by choice, not by feeling, which means, okay, I'm not confident with my answer. I'm confused and I don't understand, but I'm looking at the timer. I know I have a couple more questions to answer. I want about 1 minute 40 seconds each. I have to guess and move on. And that's going to improve your score. So now, I hope that's all clear, right? So how do we actually manage this? So first thing you do is you sit down, you take the TOEFL, right? Now, the reading is your first section. So there are 2 things that we say. When you start the TOEFL, you always get the instructions before every section starts. So when the instructions for the reading are being read out loud, close your eyes, breathe and concentrate. Just watching this video, preparing for the TOEFL, I think before you take the TOEFL, you will be aware of exactly how it works. So you don't really need to hear those instructions. And they take maybe a minute to read. So that's just you being able to settle in. Other people, depending on if you're taking it at home or in the test center, You could deal with distractions, let them go by, center yourself, relax. So when you see the first reading, two things are going to happen. Immediately, you're going to know if you have 4 readings or 3 readings. Because if you have 4, the timer, which will be on the upper right corner, will read an hour and 12 minutes. So you can just, okay, I got 4 readings. Or it'll be 54 minutes, and you can be like, all right, just 3 readings. But either way, your brain quickly flashes this breakdown of time. So in the first minute, let's say you get 4 readings, right? It's the same pattern. 1 minute to read the title and first sentences. Episode 8, which we link below, teaches you how to do that. The next 17 minutes on 10 questions. 8.5 minutes per 5. So you see the timer, 1 hour, 12 minutes, right? 1 minute to read the title and first sentences. So by 1:11, you're on question number 1. And you know by 1 hour, 2 minutes and 30 seconds, just 1 hour and 11 minutes minus 8.5 minutes, right? You want to be starting question 6, finished with question 5. So you have these markers, these milestone moments, right? And milestone, in case you're not familiar with, is a significant event in your life. Often a milestone marks the start of a new chapter. So what you want to think is that you're answering 5 questions in units. So it's almost like every 5 questions gets your full focus, your full energy. So it's like you're restarting the exam every 5 or 10 minutes, which really helps to boost your energy. So what you do is at that mark, right, because you're going to now memorize this. Got to memorize it. 1 hour, 2 minutes, 30 seconds. That's when you need to start question 6. Guess and move on. So it's your safety net. So the safety net, one more word, comes from when people do gymnastics or things like that. So your safety net is your security against misfortune. So if you look at an image, it's kind of like, oh, that's interesting. Never know what images are going to come up. There we go. So safety net is like this kind of thing that catches you when you fall. So this is your safety net. So let's say you begin the reading, you're stressed out, things break down. 1 hour, 2 minutes, 30 seconds, and you're on question number 3. What do? Guess question number 3's answer, guess question number 4's answer, guess question number 5's answer. Take a deep breath. Eyes closed, and you say, okay, I'm going to follow time management moving forward. That's the best strategy. That's how you save yourself when in the beginning maybe you make a mistake, or in the middle you make a mistake. It's like, okay, that little chunk of time didn't go so well for me. Now I get to restart, do the next questions better. So this deals with the reality of the exam, keeps you calm, you're not alone, you can still get your dream score, because we're looking to be better now than we were before. And as you continue, you see the pattern repeat. So the next 8 minutes, 20 seconds, you answer the next 5 questions. You have 3 readings, the same thing. The first minute, from minute 54 to 53, title, first sentences, right? You just kind of scan them, and you don't spend extra time. It's tough because you want to train now, so that when you take the TOEFL, you've memorized things, you've been practicing it, you're used to it, so you can perform on the exam. So title, first sentence, you answer the next 5 questions, the next 5 questions, and so on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this on the screen, and you want to have this 100% memorized, inside and out, like we like to say, so that you have no brain power necessary to remember time management. So this will probably take maybe 15 minutes right now if you haven't memorized it, and 5 to 10 minutes at least once every week until you take your TOEFL, or maybe every other day. After a couple of weeks, you have everything memorized, but you don't want to do math on the TOEFL where you're like, wait, am I on time or not on time? So you can pause the video here and write this down in your scratch paper while you're taking notes, memorize this. This will be your reference. So you can do that now. Okay. So, man, you can pause, revisit that anytime. And then as I scroll down, one thing that I want you to think about is this is a representation of your scratch paper, right? So what you want to do is maybe make an abbreviated chart. So abbreviated, I think a lot of us are pretty familiar with that, is shortened, right? Cut short. So for example, when you read books and you see maybe you listen to audiobooks, or there's like a big book and you see abridged or unabridged, that's kind of similar to abbreviated, cut short. So abridged, just to give us another nice vocab word. So referring to a piece of writing having been shortened. So they're not really synonyms, because abbreviated is usually for short phrases or words, and abridged is for works like texts, large books, things like that. Often you see this with dictionaries, an abridged dictionary, an unabridged dictionary. So similar, but not synonyms exactly, because they're used for different situations. So if we come back here, you see this abbreviated chart. All we've done is, let's say I look at the screen and I find that, oh, I have only 3 readings. Great. So that means at 53, I need to finish my title and first sentences, and then 5 questions by 44 minutes 30, 10 by 36. I need to be on the first question by 35 minutes because I'm taking 1 to read the title. Then I need to be finished with question 15 by 26 minutes 30 seconds. I need to be finished with question 20 by 18 minutes. That's my final reading. And so a good thing to do is, right when you start the reading, if you have this memorized, I would write this down quickly in the scratch paper. Right? When I take the TOEFL, that's what I do. Is very helpful. Right when the reading starts, just take a little bit of extra time, probably take anywhere from 10 to 15 seconds because it's memorized, just to help my brain so I don't really spend any energy on time management. I already have it mastered before I take the exam. So everyone, that's it right there. That's how you master time. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to emphasize something really important. Everybody that I've ever worked with and myself is challenged by the TOEFL reading. Everybody. I'm sure there's a few people that are not. That's okay, but that's uncommon. So I, like you, always feel there's a couple questions I don't feel confident about. I'm wondering, did I get that right? But what allows me to perform consistently, and what will help you to improve and do the same, is that I don't sacrifice time management unless I've earned it. So for example, if I've answered a few questions quickly in my little set of 5, then yes, I'm going to invest a little bit more on a tough question. I might even write that question in my scratch paper so that if I get lucky and have some time at the end, or maybe a little bit later, I can return to it, because you can return to it on the TOEFL. But that almost never happens because every question needs its focus. So what you want to do is accept confusion, frustration, and stress are a part of the experience. It's going to decrease as you take your deep breaths. It's going to decrease as you keep improving, but it's just a part of it. So the key to success is not to let it change the strategy that allows you to give the same focus, energy, and space on question 2 as question 28 or 38. That's the key, because you will get easy questions on your last reading, and so you don't want to approach them with stress or less time. So with that said, I think the only thing to emphasize is make sure you're doing your deep breathing and you memorize this. I hope you found this helpful. Now let's review our vocab. Here we are. Number one, cut and dry. So time management is pretty cut and dry. The only thing that's going to get us into trouble is when we start deciding how to move forward on a question because of how we feel instead of by choice according to what we've mastered in this episode, right? Cliche, taking your deep breaths, it may sound cliche, but I promise you, I do it, everyone does it. It's a powerfully effective strategy, especially as you start to take it seriously, to keep your focus, to maintain and keep an even, calm energy. So do that regularly as you see, because every DB was representative of deep breath. You can do it anytime. Very important, two things: with eyes closed, enhances the power of it, and followed by a sentence guiding you forward. Just try your best. I can do it. Just follow strategy, right? Don't spend extra time on questions, right? Something that guides you forward and helps you. Milestone is the next one. So you want to treat every point on the time chart as a milestone, an important event in the journey to your reading TOEFL dream score. So it's like you reset, you restart every time. You take a deep breath. Okay, those questions are over. The confidence I have, the stress I have from those, they're done. 5 new questions, brand new energy. Here I go, right? Next is the safety net. Those milestones, those markers with the deep breath are your safety net. So instead of the end of a reading, you've invested, 23 minutes and you're like, where did the time go? Oh no, right? Every milestone moment is your chance to catch up just in case. So I'm on question 3 when I should be on question 5. Guess on 3, guess on 4, guess on 5. Okay. New set of 5 questions, my full power, staying calm, time management is my choice, not based on my feeling. And you move forward. Abbreviated, right? Remember that's cut short, and we learned that to quickly in our scratch paper write an abbreviated time chart once the reading starts so that we don't have to use brain power. And we want to be able to do that super quickly because we've memorized it now, just like any vocabulary word. So we know it as we say, well, I won't give you a new expression, but we know it easily and quickly. Then we brought up the word abridged, just to give you a new vocab word, which refers often to texts or dictionaries or, big works, which mean it's shortened, different from unabridged. So that's our vocab. Master time by choice, not by feeling, and as a result, you'll be on your way to a higher reading score and really taking advantage of everything else you learned. Because when you have time management, as you improve your comprehension and strategy, and time management is always strong, you'll really start to notice improvement week after week. All right, we've reached the end of the lesson. So as usual, the first thumbs up goes to you. Well done. You made it to the end. Very special, right? You can imagine not everybody makes it to the end, but you studied hard. We studied hard together. Bravo to you. Keep it up. I promise you, you will get your dream score. Stay strong. Don't give up. And if you like this episode, you want to be a part of this series, you know what's coming in episode 10, kind of episode 11 with the reading. Make sure you hit subscribe if you haven't already. Maybe share the video if there's a friend that you know is kind of struggling with the TOEFL or the reading. And so with that, I leave you with 2 new questions. So since the previous video, episode 8, previous episode, had a lot of content for us to take care of, it would be great to connect with you a little bit more. So if you could leave one thing, will you master time with choice instead of feeling in the comments, right? Yes, I will, right? Just to know that you're on track to improve and this helped you. And number 2, so I kind of have more of a sense of how we are in the group. which will help to make the episodes even stronger for you. What's your dream score and confidence level, right? Is it for pharmacy? You have your reading, listening, speaking, writing requirements. Is it for graduate school and you need this score? What's your dream score so we know, and your confidence level in getting it. So is your dream score 100 plus and your confidence level is low, right? You don't really think you're going to be able to do it. You're stressed out with the deadline. Or is your confidence level high? You're studying hard, you're noticing improvement. Just to kind of see where we are, I hope you go ahead, put that there, and it's going to be a fun way to engage. I'm excited to see what you answer. And the final point, right at the end of the video, just real quick and simple, if you're ready to keep working together, instead of 1 hour per week via the episodes, which is fine, you're ready to jump in more deeply, review every section together, studying 24 plus hours a week to get your dream score, click on the link below where we have our Getting Started page, and it just walks you through how we work, best courses to start with, so that we can partner with even more power to success. So with that, it was a pleasure, everyone. Stay strong. Happy holidays. Hope you're staying safe, healthy, and depending on where you are in the world, warm, because here in New York it's cold. But until next time, have a wonderful day. Study hard. Your success is coming. Bye-bye.